They're openly admitting that we are on the brink of, quote unquote, the final war, Michael Snyder reports. Most Americans have absolutely no idea how close we are to the unthinkable. Even though leaders all over the globe have developed a really bad case of war fever, the vast majority of us here in the United States are entirely convinced that everything will be okay somehow. Most of us believe that talking heads on television, when they assure us that our politicians have everything under control and that it's extremely unlikely that a nuclear conflict will happen, but on the other side of the globe, they see things very differently. On Tuesday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told the United Nations that the world is being pushed to the brink of, quote unquote, the final war. The chilling remarks by the Ukrainian president were aimed at countries that have been ambivalent about whose side they're on since the conflict began in February 2022, and nations that were with him in the beginning but have pulled back on their support. Russia's invasion of his country is pushing the world to the final war, the Ukrainian president told world leaders attending the annual gathering in New York. For once, I actually agree with Zelensky, Michael Snyder says. We're literally on the verge of an apocalyptic global conflict in which billions of people could die, and so we need to find a way out while we still can. But during his speech, Zelensky made it absolutely abundantly clear that he has absolutely no intention of ever negotiating with Vladimir Putin. Without providing any details, Zelensky hinted at the United Nations at an alleged effort by some individuals to broker a secret peace deal with Putin, and Zelensky warned anyone who would trust Putin to recall the fate of Russian mercenary Prigozhin. He said, I'm aware of some attempts to make some shady dealings behind the scenes. Evil cannot be trusted. Ask Prigozhin if one bets on Putin's promises, he said. The Russians also believe that we are rapidly approaching a point of no return. On Sunday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov publicly stated that the U.S. is conducting a war against Russia. Washington's massive campaign to support Ukraine with arms amounts to a war against Russia, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said, adding that the U.S. has long groomed Kiev for this very purpose. In a comment to Russian reporter Pavel Zarubin, released on Sunday, Lavrov suggests that rumors about Washington possibly giving the green light to the delivery of Army tactical missile systems, ATAMACs, which have a range of up to 300 kilometers, were aimed at shaping public opinion. And according to the ministry, these deliberations would not change the fact that for many years, Ukraine has been groomed to fight with its hands and bodies in order to inflict a strategic defeat on Russia. Lavrov accused the U.S. of controlling the hostilities between Kiev and Moscow. Most Americans would not say that we are at war with Russia at this moment, but over in Russia, they view things very differently. There's constant talk on Russian television about how the U.S. and Russia are now locked in an existential conflict which will only have one eventual winner. And needless to say, the Russians do not plan on losing. Joe Biden also spoke in front of the United Nations on Tuesday, and during that speech, he once again reaffirmed U.S. support for the war in Ukraine. It's being reported that he plans to ask Congress for an additional $24 billion aid package to help bolster the Ukrainian military, but we have already given them billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. Where has all that money gone to? That's a question that House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is now asking. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy demanded accountability on U.S. aid to Ukraine and vowed to question President Volodymyr Zelensky in Washington amid heightened tensions among Republicans over funding the country's defense. Is Zelensky elected to Congress? Is he our president? I don't think I have to commit anything, and I think I have questions for him, McCarthy said Tuesday, in just the latest remarks exhibiting skepticism about billions in U.S. military and other support. Where is the accountability on the money we've already spent? What is the plan for victory? I think that's what the American public wants to know, he said, according to NBC News report. A lot of Americans refuse to believe that this conflict would ever spill outside the borders of Ukraine. But the truth is it already has. In fact, CNN is reporting that the Ukrainians just conducted drone strikes against Wagner-backed militia near Sudan's capital. Ukrainian special services were likely behind a series of strikes near Sudan's capital, a CNN investigation found, raising the prospects that the fallout from Russia's invasion of Ukraine spread far from the front lines. Speaking to CNN, Ukrainian military source described the operation as a work of a non-Sudanese military. Pressed on whether Kiev was behind the attacks, the source would only say that Ukrainian special services were likely responsible. And meanwhile, Azerbaijan has begun a large-scale offensive against Armenia. Now, have you noticed that the Biden administration has not condemned this aggression by Azerbaijan? It's because the Biden administration has almost certainly blessed it. If fighting between Azerbaijan and Armenia flares up, it will divert much-needed Russian military resources away from the Ukrainian front. We definitely live at a time of wars and rumors of wars. And we continue to hear more rumors that China is rapidly preparing for a military conflict with the United States. Just check out what Gordon Chang told Fox Business on Monday. Gladstone Institute senior fellow and China expert Gordon Chang has issued a dire warning about the possibility of a nuclear exchange with China as tensions remain inflated on the world stage and the U.S. prepares for war. Chang said on Fox Business Mornings with Maria, "We're much closer to a nuclear exchange than Americans think. China is preparing to go to war. China is surveying the United States for nuclear weapon strikes, so we've got to realize the gravity of this. The problems inside the Chinese regime right now indicate that Xi Jinping is the rocket force which controls almost all of China's nuclear weapons. He is now installing officers who will obey his orders to push the button when he gives the order." Gordon Chang is right. War with China is coming. The moment that China invades Taiwan, the U.S. and China will be at war, and the Chinese know this, but it's not stopping them from preparing for such a conflict. In recent days, the Chinese have continued to probe the island's defenses by sending waves of warplanes into Taiwan's air defense identification zone. Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense issued a strong plea to Beijing to cease its continuous military provocations after the detection of more than 100 Chinese warplanes in close proximity to the island within a 24-hour period spanning Sunday to Monday, CNN reports. In a statement, the ministry expressed grave concern over the substantial number of warplanes, which is said pose severe challenges to the Taiwan Strait and regional safety. According to a flight map provided by the ministry, 40 of the 103 Chinese warplanes breached the median line on the Taiwan Strait and entered Taiwan's self-declared air defense identification zone. When this war begins, most Americans will be completely shocked, but nobody will be able to say that we were not warned. Interestingly, one man recently asked Alexa about the upcoming presidential election, and he was told by Alexa that the 2024 election in the United States will be canceled because we will be at war with Russia and China at that time. Personally, I don't think that events will move quite that quickly. I could be wrong, but I do believe that there will be a presidential election in 2024. However, there should be no doubt that a war with Russia and a war with China are both very much on the horizon. If our leaders had any sense at all, they would be trying to find a way out of this mess while it's still possible. Unfortunately, our leaders appear to have gone completely mad, and so we continue to speed towards a date with the unthinkable. This is by Michael Snyder. He says, about the author, my name is Michael. My brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, Commissions Earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing. And one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I have also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so that you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News, and the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites. but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.